Most people understand that physical activity burns calories, and this is good, especially if weight loss is your main concern. Depending on the activity level, physical activity can contribute anywhere from 5 to 40% of your total daily energy expenditure. From a weight loss perspective, this is obviously ideal as we don't have to drop our calorie intake as far when we account for the energy expenditure from exercise. However, what is often overlooked is not simply the effect of physical activity directly on the energy outside of the energy balance equation, but its indirect effects on energy intake through appetite and satiety regulation. Humans have regulatory mechanisms in place to prevent under or overconsumption of energy, thus preventing excess weight gain or weight loss. While these mechanisms should theoretically prevent both malnourishment and obesity, things can go awry when we stray far enough away from our ancestral levels of physical activity. Specifically, these mechanisms seem to only work when a high enough level of physical activity occurs and may be disrupted when activity levels are too low. Increased physical activity or exercise does indeed increase the desire to eat, which is shown in studies where workers with higher physical activity levels were observed to eat more than those with lower levels. However, high physical activity levels also increase the satiety response to meals. Thus, when activity levels are higher, energy intake is more finely tuned and less likely to exceed requirements. When engaging in low levels of physical activity, homeostatic control of energy intake becomes dysregulated, and energy intake ceases to match energy expenditure due to a weaker satiety response to food, resulting in weight gain. Furthermore, as body fat accumulates, appetite regulation is weakened further. In lean individuals, the insulin and leptin response to a meal acts to suppress appetite. However, body fat accumulation creates resistance to the negative feedback actions of insulin and leptin. Unfortunately, a low level of physical activity acts as a triple whammy for weight gain. It results not only in lower total energy expenditure, but also suppresses satiety after meals, and then a further suppression of satiety signals once body fat accumulates due to excess energy intake. It's important to point out that activity and exercise are not synonyms. For most people, simply hopping on the treadmill at the gym more often and for longer periods will not be a successful long-term strategy simply because it's not that enjoyable for many people. Any exercise that you include should be enjoyable, and you should implement activity in your daily life. For example, an alarm on your phone to remind you to stand up and move around every hour at work if you have a desk job, or riding a bike or walking to close locations rather than driving. Replacing movies and TV with hikes, walks, mini golf, bowling, or casual sports are all ways to sneak in physical activity while enjoying the process.